mostly live. Hello,
Half
hello,
of us are
hello.
live.
It's time to get ready with Car-Boyz. We are here. What have you got on your T-shirt today? We've got Harold Shipman.
Roger Taylor.
Oh,
It's Roger Taylor. Not Harold
well,
Shipman.
look, just stand up and show our wonderful viewer. It looks, if that was to a stethoscope, it would look like Harold Shipman. Sorry, Simon. Roger Taylor from the rock
From
band
Queen.
Queen.
Yes. He
Fantastic.
looks a bit like Captain Birdseye as well. They all go into the same category.
He does look like Captain Birdseye in the same way that the guitarist Brian May looks like Anita Dobson, and also Sir Christopher Wren, and also Sir
And Isaac Newton.
and also Charles II, and also anybody in the Restoration period.
Yes.
It's a good look. Welcome on, welcome all. Good day to you. We're back again with another car radio show, now with added pictures. Good to see that the US election is over, and finally we have some common sense coming out of America. It's all over, right? It's all over? It's all over?
I think it is, but although one of them isn't conceding.
Oh, so who won? The orange one or the old one?
The old one.
The old one. We
In the
think
nice
currently,
suits, yeah.
on Saturday, November the 14th, the old one has won. Well done, old one. You beat the orange one. So it appears that we've recorded this show a month ago, as still there's no sense of who is in control in the USA. Unlike this program, which is filled and grounded with trusted news and views from two salt-of-the-earth lads, we're here for your entertainment, dear viewer. And that it kills me this time. We can no longer go to the pub. That's really why we're here. Simon, have you found your wallet bulging since last March as we can't go to the boozer?
Quite the opposite. I found myself buying stuff that I don't need with the money I'm saving.
That's the trouble, isn't there? You can have stuff easily delivered to your door, such as booze, porn.
It just click. It's just so simple just to click, and the money just, I never see it. It just goes straight out the bank.
Ups. Well, let's hopefully somebody gives us some money to do this show. Coming up this week, we've got all the news that's fit to print in the news. We take a deep dive into the world of electric cars in My Take, and we've got a lovely motor in our classic car selection. It's a German car that both myself and my colleague have driven. And before you ask, it's not a Mercedes. But it is an almighty beast. And talking of almighty beasts, here's Simon.
Oh, thanks for that intro. I am a mighty beast. Yeah. I like to think I'm a mighty beast.
I've heard the rumours.
Yes, I'm more beast than human, especially after a few Belgian beers. Although we haven't done that in a while.
Since last about a year. Since last December.
Yes, since our unofficial Christmas party.
Where we worked as doorman in a pub. But
yes.
More on that later.
We're back. Yes, it's the show that takes you to the trenches for the betterment of our viewers in Car-Boyz. We've been across the globe this week in search for the best cars, the best driving routes, and the classic vehicles, and everything that you would possibly want to own. This week, more weird and wonderful roads around the world in the lost highways. We're visiting Los Angeles, I think.
Okay.
I can't remember. Yeah. So we're visiting a few places in that. We'll be answering your questions in the mailbag, which has been sent in by the viewers. And of course, this week is bulging. And we have a pretty cool quiz that will rattle your brain at the end of the show. This week, it's The Price is Right. Yes, I've become everyone's favourite car dealer, and we're talking car prices again.
Good game, good game.
Nice to see you, nice. So stay tuned for all of that and more. I'm Simon Stujuan and Yankee Doodle Dandy in the gold Rolls Royce. I want to be elected. Kids want a survivor, don't need a fake news. I want to be elected, and I was.
You were elected, were you?
Well, no, I wasn't. That was just fake news.
All right, fake news. Simon Stujuan there, who definitely thinks that both Biden and Trump won the election. I'm Richard Green. I tip my hat to the new Constitution. I take a bow for the new revolution. I smile and I grin at the changes all around. I pick up my guitar and play, just like yesterday. Then I get on my knees and pray that we don't get fooled again. But of course we will. Roll on 2024. And when's our election due over here? 2024, 23. Yeah, nothing will change. Same old thing will go on.
Yes.
But what won't go on is this show without the help of our sponsors. Now, from the
Who's it this week?
The people that brought us Trump Cola, we've got a new one. It's called Stroke.
Now
Stroke.
What's that slogan?
50% less mobility. Stroke.
Mm,
What a wonderful brand we have there. So
nice.
hopefully, Stroke, you should go out and get yourself a case of it. It is available to many people over the age of 70. I'm just going to turn the lights up because it is looking rather dark here. So I'm very
Ooh,
technical lighting ability. Well, how about that?
that's good. That's fine.
Does that look a bit better? How's that?
Yeah, I can still see it. By the way, Rich is coming in HD this week.
Yes, you
That's
can
why
see how old I
he's looking
really
about
am.
25 years younger.
What I've done is I've rubbed Vaseline all over the screen as well, so I'm really going to look nice for our viewers. It's time now on the show for my take. It's when I look at the world from mine own view, which is an authoritarian and totalitarian one. You need to think of me as a sort of benign dictator. I don't know, a cross between Genghis Khan and Fulgencio Batista, just a bit more dictatorial. Now, this week, I thought we'd turn our attention to the growing trend towards greener modes of transport, in particular, electric cars. 20 years ago, anyone who was anyone wanted to have a Prius or a Prius. They were the stars of stage and screen. And, of course, the Hollywood movie stars, they went from wearing fur and driving a Lambo. Instead, they wore Gap and they drove a Toyota Prius, a hybrid that was sort of good on miles per gallon, but didn't convert braking power into a battery. And in theory, it was a green car. Now, these days, anyone who's anyone drives a Tesla. They are 100% electric and uber fast. In fact, they're the cool way that no other electric car is, especially with the weird South African businessman Elon Musk behind it. I think my dad used to wear a fragrance called Elon Musk back in the 1970s.
Yes.
But I
Yes.
digress.
Along with High Karate.
High Karate and Elon Musk. And denim. Do you remember denim? I digress. Yes. Near where I live, outside the private school, is a line of Teslas dropping off spoiled little boys and girls by their uber rich parents. But how environmentally friendly are electric cars? Now, we're being sold a big crock in the same way our grandparents were told that smoking was good for one's health back in the 1950s, especially the lungs, say the Surgeon General. Well, the government is expected to announce a new date. It proposes to introduce a ban on the sale of new petrol and diesel cars within the next week. Not that one, not that picture, this picture. It'll be that soon. So there'll be a ban on new petrol and diesel cars within the next week, and a report has urged ministers to fast track it to a decade's time. Now, the current ban's supposed to come in 20 years' time, 2040, but it's widely expected to be brought forward as MPs try to force the hand of the Prime Minister, which is, hang on a second, currently Boris Johnson, might not be by the end of the show. On Monday, Greenpeace UK called for the deadline to be brought forward to 2030, claiming it would increase government and see higher levels of economic activity, providing the government with a 1.9 billion net increase in revenue in a decade's time. Now, Transport Secretary Grant Shapps, who knows absolutely jack about absolutely jack, who already owns a Tesla model electric car, he owns a Tesla 3, has previously spoken of a possible deadline now of 2032. That's 12 years ago. Now, if you're 10 years old watching this show, 12 years sounds a long time. I'm not 12 years old. 12 years is 2008, and that doesn't sound like a long time away at all. All right, this is great, but how environmentally and how green and how environmentally friendly are electric cars? Well, they are and they aren't environmentally friendly. For cities and towns, having electric cars driving around is a boon for public health, no denying that. Less carbon dioxide, less particulates in the air, less lung disease, in theory. Now, you remember how 10 years ago we were all being told to drive diesel cars because they were more fuel efficient? You remember that? Well, yeah, they were right, but they're also more polluting than a petrol car because of the high particulates. I think my granddad could have told you that diesels were dirty back in the 1970s, just like Barbara Windsor was. Now, the problem with electric cars right now is that over long distances, say 400 miles, they don't work because they take a while to charge. But they're probably going to solve that problem within the next 10 years. Now, the big elephant in the room for all of this is the fuel we put into our vehicles. The fuel we put into the cars and the storage, i.e. the batteries we use to store that energy. How do we store that electricity? Well, now more than 50% of electricity produced in the UK is made by burning fossil fuels. Coal, natural gas. Less than 35% is produced by renewables, such as wind, solar, hydroelectric, but also, and I would argue this isn't renewable, biomass power stations, which burn rubbish, plant waste, and wood.
Mm.
Nuclear industry captures the final 15%. So therefore, over half the electricity you put into your Tesla isn't carbon neutral. Couple that to the fact that we produce just enough electricity for our current needs. So if we all drive electric cars in 20 years' time, we will need wind and solar panel farms all over the entire land and sea space the UK has. And a quick side note to this, there's in California, where they have lots of solar panels, if they produce too much electricity, they don't have anywhere to store it. No big batteries in the desert. They end up giving it away to neighboring states like Nevada and Oregon as not to blow up their green power stations, which is absolute madness. Now, there's the storage of the electricity in the cars. That's one of the issues. Batteries inside cars have a life of less than 20 years. So say every 15 years, you need to put a new battery into the car. So round about, let's say conservatively, 100,000 miles. Easy, you might say. Yes, but this is a huge lithium battery. And if we all drove electric cars, we would be filling up a space the size of Wembley Stadium with used car batteries every single week, which doesn't sound very green to me. It is a lot. Then there's the stuff that goes into the batteries. There's the lithium, there's the cobalt, there's the rare earth metals. All of the above, we are told, are in very limited supply. To get them requires open cast mining, which is highly environmentally unsound. They're doing it in Canada. It's really bad. In conflict areas where you find rare earths, Africa and Asia, children are being used to mine the materials. Other children are being used to guard those children who are mining the materials. And we're running out of supplies of rare earths in the ground. Some say we've got less than 30 years left. Think about that, folks, when you go to buy the latest iPhone. So I've got a 1948 Land Rover, petrol. Say I've had it for 72 years without replacing it. That is far more environmentally friendly than, say, an electric G-Whiz that was used probably for the last 10 years and is now on the scrap heap. So here's an idea. This may seem controversial. Why don't we come out with more fuel efficient and lower emission petrol cars? We'll do it. It's not going to be done tomorrow. It's going to take 50 years or so. They're going to come with a built-in power station. It's really good. It's called the internal combustion engine, and it's devilishly clever. It's served us more than 100 years. We've got all this oil that's in the ground. We burn that. We've got the technology right now, and for less than $6 billion, you can get a car. Unlike the $6 billion man, whatever happened to Lee Majors. I have children. I care about the environment. I care about global warming and the baby seals. I do care about the baby seals. But to be honest, we live in a far cleaner world than we did 50 years ago. Cars are incredibly fuel efficient. There are more trees now in the UK than there were 200 years ago. And not every household has a coal fire. So let us continue to be more fuel efficient. Let's try and get 300 miles out of a tank of petrol in this century, in the next 10 years, rather than saddling us with lame technology that will be out of date tomorrow. Anybody remember the G-Whiz car? I saw one the other day. They used to be around London 10 years ago, and now they've all disappeared because they're all piles of crap that have broken down. Any thoughts on this, Simon?
Yeah, there's a few things. The first thing is that you're saying, yes, 50 years ago, London was very dirty. The whole country was very dirty. Statistically, this is not me getting on my soapbox. I found out this week that the EU is the only area in the world where the number of trees has increased by 20%. Everywhere else it's going down.
Right.
In Europe, trees are going up. So that's good for the environment.
Yep.
The other thing was, I don't know if you saw this week, there was a statement from Ferrari, and Ferrari have said that they're never going to stop producing a petrol engine.
Right.
So they're always going to have a petrol engine. They might have a hybrid, but they're never going to stop producing petrol-powered vehicles.
If you could get me an electric car, and we had the source of electric to run that car, I'd have an electric car tomorrow.
Yeah.
I haven't got an obsession about the petrol engine, but we have got a lot of oil under the ground. There's a hell of a lot of oil under the ground. So why don't we just use it? And why don't we make cars really fuel efficient? And I've got this new car, and it's now, when we were kids, a car that did 25 mpg was a great car. Now we're seeing cars, petrol cars, doing 50, diesel cars doing 85 mpg. We're getting there. It's taking time, but it's not going to happen tomorrow.
Because I can remember, I think it was probably about the mid-90s, everyone it was about creating lean burn engines.
Yes.
And we came so far. Then sort of like in the 2000s, it became turbocharging.
Yeah.
Engines became cleaner because you're taking the exhaust gases and then you recirculating and put them through a turbo. So surely the technology is showing that it's getting greener as we're going along.
I can remember as my first car, Fiat Panda, was the most fuel efficient car you could buy in the UK at the time, because it did 45 mpg. Now, I would say, what are you looking at? 30-40% of cars in the UK do 45 mpg?
Yeah.
Easily.
I think the other thing is also the fact that cars then were much lighter than what they are now. So now everyone wants toys and so on. So you're making cars heavier. So the heavier the mass of the vehicle is, the more you've got to burn energy in order to move it. So that's why I don't think we've progressed so much.
What are you trying to say about my Fiat Panda? It had toys. It had a radio. Well, it didn't actually.
You had to buy one.
Yeah, we went and found one. We found one. There was a car crashed near where I lived, and the radio ended up in the hedge. So my brother nicked it, and we put it in the Fiat Panda, and we had one speaker in the front. But it didn't have a hole. I don't think it had a hole to sit. You didn't have a cutout.
Yeah.
I've got a feeling we sort of jammed it into like a cubby hole. And then connected it to the battery with a speaker that you could move around the car. And kids, it wasn't wireless; it had wires. I think we shoved the wires down the dashboard, and it sat. The best person that could hear the stereo the best sat in the passenger seat, because I think we wedged the speaker into the dashboard there.
That's very true, because my sister had a Mark II Fiesta Popular Plus, which came with nothing in it. So when you got a radio, you had to buy a little console thing, which you could quite easily buy from Argos, covered in carpet, and you had to put the radio in that.
Brilliant.
And then mount that to the transmission tunnel of the car. That's how technology's moved on. We've moved on to having things like radios in the car.
Oh, it hasn't got built-in sat nav. Should we have some news?
Yes, let's go for some news. Cue the music.
Here we go.
First off this week in good news, I can drive my car. In England news, and now the UK is in another coronavirus lockdown. If you didn't know, motorists are asking if they can drive, have their cars serviced and MOT tested, and if they could go to dealers to order new models. With the lockdown set to be enforced until the 2nd of December, which is what Boris Johnson hasn't learned, that you don't give a date for these things, because it never works out. The rules and restrictions won't be the same as the original enforced lockdown put in place in March this year. For instance, schools and universities will remain open throughout, and people will be able to exercise outdoors with one person from another household. Ooh.
Oh, that sounds excellent. That sounds filthy. Is dogging's okay then? I guess.
Yeah, it's all good. Yeah, especially if that person's on their own, because you can mix those bubbles.
That sounds filthy.
So I'm told.
Mixing those bubbles.
So all those can say, but what does the month-long lockdown mean for drivers and motoring as a whole? Motorists will be allowed to use their cars, and though they are being encouraged to only do so for one of the approved reasons listed by our God bless government. This includes travelling to work, and if there is no capacity to work from home, shops or essentials, and drive to outdoor spaces to exercise, which you couldn't do in the first lockdown. Motorists should only carry passengers from their own household in their cars. As with the lockdown enforced back in March, there are no plans to close the roads. That seems a bit ridiculous to close roads anyway.
Does that apply to taxi drivers? Can they only take and Uber drivers and Lyft drivers?
Well, they're scrabbling over customers from what I see on the roads.
Yes.
Car garages will remain open throughout the lockdown from the 5th of November to the 2nd of December, with the government classifying them as essential businesses, especially with more people expected to be driving than during the first lockdown. People can buy cars and get them serviced and get new MOTs, which didn't happen before. There's a Mercedes SLK there having its aircon lifted up off on the jacks. Why? So yes, among the list of essential retailers and business remaining open and fully operational during the second COVID-19 lockdown in England is petrol stations, because of course we need some fuel for our vehicles.
Yes.
It means drivers will be able to fill up with fuel throughout November. It should be noted that motorists continue to be advised to wear gloves while filling
yes.
up.
I always do that. I did that before lockdown. I'm not touching a petrol pump.
Have you noticed any difference with the traffic?
Now, weirdly, okay, so the second lockdown's happened, and sort of a little bit, but it feels like I came home from work Friday drive time, 5:10 past 5 was on the road, and seemed as busy as usual on a Friday night.
So I've been finding that the mornings are pretty much the same as they were pre-lockdown.
Right.
But the evenings haven't been too bad. I've probably knocked off about half an hour on my journey in the evening. So instead of taking 2 hours, it's only an hour and a half from one side of London to the other.
Yes, which sounds about right, you poor bastard. Yes, I would totally agree with that. I haven't been doing rush hour in the mornings because I don't need to be in my place of work till 10, and I drop my kids off before, so I'm hitting the highway about 8:45, and it seems not too bad. But the evenings, probably a little lighter in the evenings. I'm thinking what's happening is it's schools.
Yes,
I think the
schools are
schools
still open,
going, so people are, and nobody's on the bus because it's full of COVID. So yeah, I was going to say actually, what about if you've got a classic car?
Yeah.
What do you go? I'm going out to the shops, and you really want to you've got a lovely Caterham. Where are you going in that, sir? I'm going to B&Q to buy some nails. And you really
because that's all that would fit in your Caterham.
You would. I noticed as well this stock picture of a garage. I think this is a quick fit. Don't ever take your car there. If you're looking for a tyre, maybe, but really for the rest of it, I'm not sure the good employees of QuickBit are the men to trust and know anything about anything. All I'm saying, go there for tyres.
Other retailers are available.
Yes, I'm not saying that QuickFit are bad, but meanwhile, the most loved hot chat in the world, Hot Hatch. Yes, I said Hot Hat. The most lovable hot hatch in the world just got a bit more lovable news. Volkswagen have released, yes, look at it there, the most powerful road-going version of its compact Golf yet, and for the first time ever, it comes, this is amazing, with a drift mode. The aggressively styled, all-wheeled model, the most potent ever to wear the iconic Golf badge, produces 320 horsepower from a highly strung 2-litre 4-cylinder petrol engine and can accelerate from rest to 62 miles per hour in 4.7 seconds. Wow. And has a top speed of 167 miles an hour. If that Ferrari that Magnum drove did not produce 300 HP. But the inclusion of a drift mode is likely to cause the most consternation amongst golf fanatics and road safety groups, as when it's activated, it turns the family-friendly hatchback into a hooligan power sliding vehicle. It's linked to a slick 7-speed dual clutch gearbox. The standard top speed for the new Golf R is 155 miles an hour. But if you've got the R Performance Pack, that takes you up to 167. The R Performance Pack also includes 2 extra driving profiles for performance drivers, which extend the existing race profile set by the special R button on the steering wheel. That sounds insane. One option is the drift mode feature. You can recreate those moments from the Fast and the Furious in your very own local B&Q car park.
Oh, I love pressing a race button on the A40. Yes. That's really where I can see myself using all that.
Definitely. Yeah, I mean, It depends how much it costs to get the R Performance pack.
Yes.
Because really, if it's another 10 grand, when are you ever going to use this car to its fullest extent? Never. I think arguably the Golf is probably the best car of the 20th century. I think it's the best car ever produced for all-round capability. You can
It's
put
versatile,
adults in it. You can drive it if you're old. You can drive it if you're young. It's one of those. If you turn up for a meeting in this, they will not know whether you are the junior or the managing director of the company. They won't know. It's ageless. It's timeless. I think it's a fantastic car. I think it far outmatches the Beetle for being an amazing car. There's an awful lot of stuff on this. Mind you saying that, I really want to drive one, sir.
Well, you say that, so it's free. So this is a family car. It's got 320 horsepower.
Exactly.
4.7 seconds. The kids would love that in the back.
Kids will love that. They will, yeah.
And 167 miles an hour. If you think how far we've come from family cars, so your average car in the 80s would never have seen 100 maybe.
Yeah, I was just
110.
I'm thinking of driving down to the south of France next year, and I can remember my dad doing it in a 2-litre Ford Sierra, and it was I remember it was a punishing journey because it's like 800 miles. I've got a 2.5-litre Honda with an auto box. It's going to be a dream. It's going to be tough, but it's not going to be as tough as it was with my dad. Cars have come on so much.
Yeah.
Completely different beasts.
But I think you're absolutely right. Very versatile car. The Golf is. Fit people in there. 3 people in the back quite easily.
Fantastic looking motor.
Put your shopping in there. It's all good.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
If you have no opinion about cars and you have a lot of money, just go and buy that.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. It does every single job that you could possibly want it to do really well.
Yeah. I wouldn't go surfing and sleep in it though. It's probably a bit small for that.
Probably not, but I don't know. It's the first time to try everything. I love this sort of news. Cougar news. Oh, it's not the same. In the Cougar gets caught making.
You're thinking about that dogging again, aren't you?
Yeah, hot. Cougar gets hot on the collar news. Ford has confirmed. I was looking beforehand. So obviously we prepare this show. It's not just thrown together. I was thinking, who could I use as a picture for that? And I thought, no, I'm not going to do that. Ford has confirmed that it's recording thousands of Cougar vehicles, that's plug-in hybrid electric vehicles, due to faulty battery units. Batteries again. Concerns have been raised in October after 7 of the low-emission sports utility vehicles caught fire while charging. The car maker has confirmed that cell contamination in the drive battery system was the cause of the issue, and the result, the battery packs for all models sold need to be replaced already, not 12 years, but a couple of months. The Cougar vehicle was launched in showrooms in April, with 1,800 bought by UK drivers before sales were suspended. When the problem was identified, some 27,000 have been sold globally. They are quite popular. I've seen quite a few on the road. Owners of the Cougar which cost £33,600, will need to hand their cars over to franchise garages for at least a full day, so dealers can repair their cars in the workshop with all the necessary work, including all software updates. That's probably what it is. Owners will be issued with the formal recall notice later this month, and bookings will have to be issued to resolve, will be made in order which the vehicles were purchased. So obviously, if you bought yours early, I'm guessing you would be the first to be recalled. This means owners can't make use of their car's official pure electric only driving range of 35 miles.
You want to kill the car industry, green people, for 35 miles. Oh, that would be worth it.
We're not talking miles to the gallon, we're talking miles to the battery. 35 miles, which is gained when the car is charged from the mains. However, the car is still functioning and a self-charging hybrid in which the movement and braking of the car charges the vehicle's battery while it is on the move. So there you go, a red Cougar there.
With a Cougar. Hello. Yes, see, there's a Cougar charging.
How you doing?
Charging her Cougar. The only thing I've said it before and I'll say it again. Ford, fix off and repair daily, my favourite acronym. I hate this new badge on the back of the Ford. It's horrible. It looks really cheap. The
It's
new lettering
it's
on the back.
yeah. It's supposed to be in the old days. I don't know if you remember, cars like the Cortina used to have Ford on there.
Yeah, you do.
So
You're
that's
right.
kind of
Rather than the
what it's
blue
a nod
oval.
to.
I
Yeah.
don't like it. I think it makes them look cheap. In fact, I got in the back of an estate. It was last year. We got an Uber, and
Yes.
it was a red estate Ford Focus. And
Ah.
I got out of it, and I said to my wife, "What did you think of that car?" And she went, "Oh, I really didn't like that car." I was like, "That was a Focus," and she was like, "You're joking." She thought it was something really cheap, and I said, "Yes, it is. It's a Ford Focus." Um, I, I, I don't know. You don't drive Fords anymore, but
Not anymore.
mm, I'm wondering about her build quality. I really am. That's
But the thing is, it's not the Cougar, it's the other smaller off-roader. I can't remember what it's called, but they're built in India and they're
like,
built
oh,
pretty
really?
cheaply. Yeah, so a lot of them. So the new Ford Car, which is called the Car Plus,
Okay.
and there's a little soft-roader which name escapes me. I think it's called the Escape.
Okay.
Um, they're built in India.
So you're talking about a small Cougar, sort of like Barbara Windsor.
Yes.
He used to be a small Cougar. And finally, in yes, I know we don't do motorbikes on this show, but this is an exception to the rule news.
Ooh.
A 43-year-old classic British motorcycle made in Birmingham.
All right.
That's all right. It's great. That's still in its original shipping crate, has never been ridden, and a mile or even 2 miles is to be sold at auction for around £30,000. This is it. It
That-
is a 1977 850 Norton Commando Interstate, notable for having an electric start as well as a kickstart. That's what it'll look
Ooh.
like when it's built up, the Norton Commando. It's one of the final examples of the original Norton Commando, which features an 828cc air-cooled parallel twin-engined four-speed gearbox, top speed in excess of 115 miles per hour. The Norton Commando is a readily a hugely collectible vintage motorbike. This 1977 example will be in huge demand, having never been unpacked in its 43-year history. The unique opportunity to buy the time capsule from Norton will remain in the manufacturer's packing crate for the sale. It will be offered at H&H Classics at the National Motorcycle Museum, directly opposite the NEC. New Solihull in the West Midlands on the 14th of November, which I think is today. So you better get down there
Yes.
today. The history of the bike is a strange one. It was sold to a customer in Belgium in 1977 with the dispatch documentation even including in November sale. The bike remained untouched and unpacked. Then it was sold and transported to a buyer in Holland who shipped it to Spain before it was recently purchased by the vendor and returned to the country where from it was made. That means it's had 3 owners in 4 different countries in 43 years. Not one of them has ridden the motorcycle. The original Norton Motorcycle Company went bankrupt in the 1980s.
So I don't get this. So basically, there's a giant Airfix box that's turned up with a bike in it, and no one's thought, yeah, I'll get that out and have a
Well,
go with it.
I think the only thing that's missing is basically you've got to put the front forks on
Glue?
it.
Oh, okay.
I don't think it's. I mean, the engines. It's not a bits bike. It is a bike that's been put in that shipping crate. Maybe even the front forks are on there. You can see the handlebars at the top. So I don't
Yeah.
think you've got to. I mean, you probably get a mechanic to put that back together for a couple of £100.
But
But
why would you not have taken it out of the box? You just thought, oh yeah, I'll just leave that in there for the
well,
next
I
40
assume
years.
that some stupid bugger with more money than sense has bought this and forgotten about it. And by the time he'd realised what it was, they wanted to keep it pristine. It's like, if you've got 1,000
Yeah.
motorcycles, why not keep this one in the box? It's the same as the geeks that buy the blooming Star Wars
Star
figures
Wars.
and kept them in the box. I mean, great, they're worth 30 grand now, but that's a lot. You're going to have a lot of why didn't you just play with them when you were a child
Yes.
and have fun? All my old dinky toy cars my son's got now, and they're smashed to bits.
Yeah.
He's 5 years old and he picks them and he's smashed. I'm like, hang on, that's careful. That's the Jaguar E-Type. He's like, I don't care. So okay, he's a kid. He
Pretend
plays
to be
with
like Evil Knievel or something, or yeah.
Yes, he actually has managed to rip the little policeman's light off my Starsky and Hutch car, which I'm not very happy about.
Oh.
I just let it go, Simon. I walked away. I don't care. He's a kid. He's going to have fun.
Close to being disowned.
Yeah, exactly. But what a bizarre. That's just. I mean, if I had the cash to go and buy that, that's a beautiful looking motorcycle.
It is, yeah.
And it is. And what's even better, if you're a real geek, car geek. Well, no, not cars, a motorcycle really. But if you're a real petrol head, it comes with all the original documentation, and there's no service stamps or anything. It's completely mint. So,
does that mean it has got no like MOT or anything like that then?
Yeah, I don't think it'll have anything. It won't have. No, actually, that's the point. Will you need an MOT on it? Firstly, because it's never been written on the road. So surely the first 3 was it 3 years? 2 years?
Yes, 3 years.
3 years. You won't need an MOT. I don't know whether that applies to motorcycles, but also, seeing that Norton have been out of production for 40 odd years, doesn't that also mean? Hang on a second. That this is it will have, you won't have to have an MOT on it.
Or would you get classic tax with it?
Yeah, I think you would.
Interesting. I see you're not drinking Stroke there.
No, hang on. I better promote Stroke. I've actually filled this up with Stroke. You start seeing me do this throughout the show, you'll know what's happening. Stroke. This is our new sponsor of the show, from the people that brought you Trump Cola. Stroke. Now with 50% less mobility. Right, it's time now to strike up the jazz band, for it is the classic car selections. All right, boys, that's enough. Thank you very much, Dizzy Gillespie and the rest of you. Back in the cellar. Yes, time now for the classic car selection. It's where we take a diamond in the rough and polish it until it resembles a first-rate motor we'd all love to cherish. The cars we look at within this section of the show are not your Ferraris or your Rolls-Royces. They're down-to-earth, honest-to-goodness cars that have either been overlooked or merely forgotten in the mists of time. Hard to believe, but the Car-Boyz went on tour 2 years ago, before the creation of this podcast.
When we were allowed to go.
Yeah, when we were allowed to go on holiday. We had a lad's holiday to Berlin. That's because my wife decided to let me out of the house, which coincided with the nation's annual excuse for a knees up, namely the Oktoberfest. But as we are car nuts, you've come to know and love, we decided to rent a classic East German car that's become the mainstay of car transport on the other side of the Iron Curtain. Yes, the car we decided to rent was a 1986 Trabant, resplendent in rainbow colours. The
Paul Smith edition.
The Paul Smith edition, the funniest, most polluting car I've ever driven. And I used to live in the Far East, so I know about small polluting cars. Known almost universally by the mark name in the UK, the Trabant was briefly Europe's most symbolic car in the aftermath of the fall of the Iron Curtain in 1989. Its time in the spotlight didn't last long. The novelty wore off for Westerners, and once the horrible truth emerged about how awful it was to drive, they are truly awful to drive, the Eastern Europeans shunned it once they had the opportunity to lay their hands on second-hand VW Golfs. And Duraplast-bodied Trabants soon ended up littering scrapyards the length and breadth of the continent. An enthusiastic following, though, has emerged, and many see it as an anti-established statement or through the nostalgia for communist times gone by. There's nothing like a bit of communist times gone by. Hard to believe these were the descendants of some of Europe's most forward-looking cars. The Trabant 601, for that's what it is, roots lay in IFA, the East German Association of Car Makers, which comprised what was left of Audi, DKW, Framo, and Phanomen. Nationalised by the new East German government, the Trabant didn't move on. Effectively, the mechanics in this are from the 1930s. The 601 was effectively a pre-war DKW in newer suit, developed from the 600. The 601 entered production in 1964 with almost no development over its predecessor. Various 601 body styles were on offer, the most popular being the Saloon, known as the Limousine. That was the Limousine. And, wait for it, the Estate, which we drove, which I think is more of a shooting brake than an Estate. The car also has a hilarious column change for the gearbox, something that's rarely seen on cars since the 1950s. Four on the tree, as they say, which can prove very challenging when changing gear. If you're a young person watching this, I had never driven a car with this. I have driven a car with an auto stick on the column, on the steering column. I've driven an auto and I've driven a stick shift. This is a stick shift but on the column first,
Mm.
and then away from you second, and then towards you third, and then
And if you're lucky,
if you're
into
lucky,
fourth.
as opposed to this car, which didn't have fourth gear at all. We both drove it. We both found out it didn't have a fourth gear. Now, 26 years of production, there was little developed. From 1965, they put an automatic gearbox on one of these. God, that must have taken about an hour to change gear. In 1969, an extra 3 brake horsepower, and I did say
Ooh,
3
3.
bhp was added to the engine. 12-hour electrics arrived in 1983, and from May 1990, a 1.1 litre VW Polo engine was used. With the new power unit on board, acceleration in this lightweight saloon was almost indecently quick. But the Trabant's strongest point was its reliability, based on simplicity, important when customers had virtually no money to fix it when it went wrong. So what do you go for when buying one of these? Well, as we always say on this show, buy the best you can find and join your local owners club. As aforementioned, these cars are made of Duraplast, a sort of Eastern European fiberglass, but more environmentally damaging. The Duraplast will be around till the end of time. It will not rust, but look for cracks on the bodywork. Also get underneath and check the chassis, or as we say in England, the chassis, because many models in this area rot. They do rot from the underneath. Don't worry about blue smoke from the exhaust pipe, unless it's a latter model with the VW Polo engine in.
Yes.
These are two-stroke, which means the oil and the petrol go into the same hole under the bonnet. And I did say under the bonnet. The engine will also rev like a lawnmower or a leaf blower. So don't panic too much if it's, because that's pretty much what it does all the time. They're right-hand drive, so you're never going to find one converted to a left-hand drive. I have actually seen one converted to a left-hand drive, but they are going to be as rare as hen's teeth. They're really for consumption only in the Soviet bloc. Well, how much should you pay for one of these? Well, these cars were uber cheap back in the early 90s when £500 could have got you a Minter. These days, they're a little more than that. The military spec cars, those were in the DDR, regalia of the Eastern German army, can go for €8,000.
Wow.
The same can be said for the 1950s and 60s cars. So that's the 600, I think, as opposed to the 601. They are really expensive, but spend around 2 to 3 grand and you can get a solid car from the late 1980s. We found an estate, not this one, but a similar one, 1986, solid body, 56,000 on the clock, full MOT, some service history, obviously a German import, but registered for the UK road, £2,000. So why not say, yeah, das ist good to the DDR's finest, the Trabant. But if you want to try before you buy, I suggest a trip to Trabi World in Berlin. You can take, that is Trabi World. You can take the Trabant tour, drive your very own Trabi, one of the world's most polluting cars, around one of the greenest cities of Berlin. And the locals will hate you, but you will have a lot of fun, especially the cyclist I nearly ran over.
There's a few things about this. One, I think we did the Trabant early on in the days when this was a radio show, not a TV program.
Yes. Oh, did we? I forgot about that. Sorry.
Yeah.
Oops.
But that's all good. But I'm a little bit in love with the Trabant. Everything you know about driving is wrong when you drive a Trabant. So the steering position, wrong. Clutch is either opened or closed because it's literally like an on-off switch. So the seating position that you're in is slightly off center.
Even though it wasn't, it's like a car that was designed for right-hand drive and it's been converted to left-hand drive. But it wasn't. It was always designed for right-hand drive. But you sit off. I still love the gearbox, and when you go to Trabi World, they let you have a practice on some mock-ups because it is so difficult to depress the clutch. Right, okay, right there.
And the thing is, that doesn't fully prepare you for it because also the fact that I think the fourth gear was the gear that's offering lubrication to the engine.
Yes, and that's what we weren't doing.
Yes, because we had no fourth gear. You put it into fourth, there was just no power at all.
You constantly have to keep your foot on the accelerator to lubricate the engine.
Yes.
Which is something you find very rarely. I think the first Saab did this. So you always have to have your foot revving. If you take your foot off and put it into neutral, the engine will eventually seize up. So you have to keep pumping the oil. It's the most complicated thing in the world. And the steering was good because you did this.
Yes. Yeah.
And the car didn't move. It was wacky races driving. Hey, let's drive a car like this.
Lots of play in the steering wheel. The accelerator as well, you didn't quite know where you were pressing it. It was just everything you knew was wrong. And the downside to Travel World, again, fully endorsed Travel World because it was really, really good and really good
It
fun.
was fun.
The tour takes you on a trip through the streets of Berlin, and we were lucky because it was absolutely blinding. It was like a summer's day, and it was in
October.
beginning of October. The downside to that is they do the commentary for the whole journey, but you don't take any notice of it because you're concentrating so hard on driving
Not dying.
vehicle. The other thing is also drive with the windows open.
Yes.
Because if not, you will die from smoke inhalation.
Because the exhaust fumes also come into the back of the car, and you get to wave, and the tourists like you, but the locals hate you. They're like, "Schweinhund in a Bro-Polluting car. It's a memory of the Cold War." I don't care. It was great. It was fantastic.
If you want to see us driving one of these, it is on the Car-Boyz Facebook page, which will give you all the details on in a bit. But yes, you can see us driving around Berlin in one of these Trabant. I love the Trabant. I'm a little bit in love with the Trabant.
I think it's the also what helped. I was going to say with that tour, it would have helped if the person taking us on the tour, because you had a lead car,
an electric vehicle.
Was he an electric vehicle?
Yes, it was an electric vehicle.
He was an electric vehicle, and he is giving us the tour, and we've got speakers in every car, so we can hear what he's saying. It's like, well, this is the Berlin Wall, and this is where Hitler's bunker was, which is fine, except he was from Barcelona, so I can't really understand. And he's telling me in English, in broken English, like, I'm in Berlin. There's a guy from Barcelona. And this is Berlin Wall, and this is also, I don't know, Hitler's bunker or something like that. It's nothing to do with us. Like, where? I can't understand what's going on. But yes, the Trabant. If you want to, really taste what motoring was like back in the 1930s, go for one of those. Is it time for Lost Highways? I believe it is.
It is time for Lost Highways. Strike up the band. Come on.
Here they're the band.
Ooh, ha.
Thanks, boys.
Yes, it's Lost Highways. Don't forget, later on in the show, we've got the mailbag, the quiz, and a whole load more. But first, this is the feature where the listeners email us in, or the viewers email us in, and give us their favourite roads and the reasons why they love them. It could be a quite close to road that leads down to the sea. Alternatively, it could be a straight 2-lane blacktop that leads to infinity and invites you to gun the pedal to the metal. Whatever your poison is, let us know. Sorry, let us know what's happened. You've got COVID cola on your.
Hang on, let me try it. No, it's not. It's not COVID cola, Simon. It's the new taste of stroke.
Oh, it's stroke. Yes. Let us know.
I know this show's produced on a budget. That's ridiculous. Shall I try and find another one? I don't know how we've got coffee stain on that. I hope it's good.
That's so funny. Now I can do it.
There we go.
You can email us.
Car-Boyz at outlook.com, Facebook Car-Boyz, boys with a Z, at Car-Boyz with 4 Zs, Twitter Car-Boyz at Car_Boys, boys with a Z, Instagram at Car_Boys with 3 Zs. I'm just making a new one that's got no. There you go.
First off, in Lost Highways in the inbox this week is Anna, who says, "Dear Car-Boyz, I've discovered a great drive when she went to visit her aunt. It's the road from Rhodes, see what we did there, to Kimmeros Scala. Roads to Kimmeros Scala Road, which is very scenic coastal road located on the east coast of Rhodes, the largest of Greece. I can never say it. Dodecahedron Island. So the road is asphalted and stretches some 45.1 kilometres, which is roughly about 25 miles, and links the villages of Rhodes to Kimmeros Scala, which is a small harbour and fishing town. Along the drive, there's dozens of small beaches with pebbles and stratified rocks. She says the road literally takes your breath away. It's winding and in many places bordered by a drop direct to the sea, unprotected by guardrails, so be careful. High winds, sorry, my script's moved up a bit. High winds blow here all year long from small boats depart to the island of Halki. The journey takes only 45 minutes, and doing it in a convertible is always a great way of exploring the islands. I've never been to Greece or the islands around Greece.
Yeah,
What's
I
it
have.
like?
Greece is wonderful.
But
I've been to Corfu about 4 or 5 times. Yeah, you know in Greece you're approaching alien because you do see things that you don't. You see people sitting on the back of sort of farm vehicles thinking this is fine to go to the pub in this. You see, I once saw a Mark One Ford Fiesta that was mostly filler, not like a bit by the door.
yes.
The whole rear
Wow.
section, part of the bonnet. So, and you could see, and it had been put on with not much care either. So they put the plastic padding on, like they were troweling a wall they didn't really care about. Um, Also, it was the first time. Now, I live in Western Europe. I live in London. Rules are quite strict here, but for 3, 4 years, I lived in Southeast Asia, and I lived in Bangkok, where there's no MOT on cars. Nobody, as long as the car drives, it's a car. But Greece was the first time I'd seen a coach driver smoking a cigarette on a phone, eating a sandwich, and drinking a can of Coke down a road
Wow.
like this.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I don't think I would
Uh,
want to multitask on that.
No, and I've driven in Corfu as well.
Yes.
Yeah, it's an interesting. You've just got to take things slowly, slowly, slowly. The worst thing for me is they gave me a manual, and every time I went to change gear, I was slapping the window with my left hand.
Yes,
But
I
it's
know what you mean.
you just got to take the roads easy. The last time I went to Corfu, I hired a quad bike. That was a little bit easier. And again,
Fantastic.
take it easy. Oh, I took my mum on the
Mm.
quad bike up into the hills. It was hilarious. She nearly died of fright. Put the helmet on, mum. We're going for a coffee. That's
Ooh.
fantastic. Yes, that sounds like a good one. I thoroughly encourage people to go to Greece because it's a fantastic place. Finally, in Lost Highways, Lady of the North, Aldu, gets
Aye.
in touch. Is it Aldu? Where's Lady of the North? Newcastle. Why?
Newcastle.
And it gets in touch and says she loves the islands of Trinidad and Tobago, and her favourite drive took her to Mayaro, which is just under 100 kilometres from Port of Spain. You're almost in Venezuela. She said Mayaro is a hotbed of activity on the weekends. I bet it is. And during the school vacations, 9 miles of beach stretch along, look at that, along the southeast coast of Trinidad, providing the perfect spot for a day of swimming, hunting for chips.
Don't know what they are.
I don't know what they are, and catching crabs. I think there's some other places in Port of Spain you can catch crabs. The sea variety, of course. Fishing or just relaxing on the sand. Driving is on the left-hand side of the road because we used to own Trinidad and Tobago. And the cars are largely right-hand drive. Genius. So they're all from America. Fantastic. You can drive for up to 90 days on the license. Oh, no, sorry. Hang on, is that right? Cars are largely right-hand drive. Oh, yes, so they're British cars.
Yes.
Is that what we're saying? Fine.
Yeah.
So they're all Japanese cars. Right, I'm getting confused. You can drive for up to 90 days on the license of most countries. Fantastic. If you're staying longer, you need to get a local driver's permit from the Trinidad and Tobago licensing division, which I imagine isn't very hard. A colleague of mine got a driving license in India, and he literally just turned up and they went, "Oh, you can drive. There it is." And in Thailand, he another of my colleagues got a driving license and he drove to the end of the road and I went, "There is your driving license." The long Manzanilla Mayaro Road in Trinidad is 20 kilometres long. It's a 2-lane asphalt highway with a speed limit, of 80 kilometres an hour that blends into the Eastern Main Road. But beware, there are plenty of potholes. The scenery is dotted along with slender, waving palm fronds, and they provide the perfect backdrop to your next Instagram photo. And there's a guy there, probably just trying to rob you of your jewellery. I'm just saying. But yes,
Never
Trinidad.
been there. Never been to Trinidad or Tobago.
I've got the closest I've got is Dominican Republic. It was
Mm.
actually like the Dominican Republic, fantastic place, but I'm not sure I'd want to drive it. But if Lady of the North says it's good, then we should give that a go. Fantastic. Don't forget to get your driving roads to us here at the Car-Boyz. Email the show, car-boys@outlook.com, car-boys at Car-Boyz with 4 Zs for Facebook. Twittering, car-boys at car_boys with a Z, and at car_boys with 3 Zs on the old Instagram. We've got a feature we haven't done for a while called Turd of the Week. I encourage you to go and check out the Facebook page. Simon, I think yesterday, posted another Turd of the Week, which we should do, which I don't know where you found that. It's a Ford car jacked up on a sort of, it looks like if you can imagine,
Yes.
a monster truck had sex, probably violently, with a poor Ford car, and this vehicle would have been the product. Our turd of the week, so the turd of the week, let me explain. It's backed by popular request from the viewers. It's where we get viewers to send in pics of the worst car they've ever seen, and we show it off to the world. So it could be a 1.1 VW Polo with a huge exhaust pipe. Sorry, that's the turd of the week sound effect.
The award's being dropped.
Yeah. And
dump valve. There it is. Dump valve.
There you go. There's the dump valve. So it could be enough. Thank you. One more. Oh, sounded like he followed through there. So it could be a 1.1 VW Polo with a huge exhaust pipe, dump valves, and a K&N air filter, or it could be there's dump valves again. Could be a 1996 Vauxhall Cavalier covered in rust with. It's only a little thing, but it's making grown men that should know better to laugh. So whatever the car that you find that is awful in whatever way it offends you, it too can ascend the amount of feces to be crowned
Turd of the week.
Turd of the week. So send your pictures to us. Right. Okay, we'll try and gain control. Turd of the week this week was spotted by my eagle-eyed daughter, age 7, at the crossroads near to her school. To quote her directly, "Daddy, what is this weird truck?" Yes, it's a heavily modified Mercedes G-Wagen, a car that was designed for the German military. And if anything gets worse, the more you add to this car, the worse it gets, including the number plate, which says big old. Is the owner a Fulham football player? Yes. Or is he a rapper or a drug dealer? Answers on a postcard, please. But this is the turd of the week.
Yes.
We've got to stop that now. I can't imagine what would possess you to do this to a car. So there's obviously, I mean, this is a minimum of £120,000 brand new
for a G-Wagon. Yeah,
it's the long wheelbase G-Wagen. It's got a lift kit on. It's got some sort of new fender kit around it. Bigger wheels. Also, have you noticed what it's got on the top? Those lights are for hunting. I can imagine the only thing the driver of this will be hunting is for where to get some decent gear from. I imagine this is a football player. I think this is a foreign football player, because you would expect this car in the Middle East. What the heck it's doing in the sun? This is never going to see dirt. This is going to see, look, those are hunting lights. When you go hunting, in the back of this car, you'll put those on at night and get out with your long ball rifle and shoot something. But what an absolute
turd
of the week. So please send us your turds of the week, and we too can humiliate you, despite the fact you've spent about £150,000 on a car.
Even if it's your car.
I want to find out who this guy is, because I don't think it's a rapper, because rappers in the UK don't make that much money. It's not a garage MC or anything like that. I think this is a foreign football player that's playing for maybe Chelsea or Fulham.
We'll have to work out what day it was you saw it and where, but we'll do that off air.
Oh, sorry. Right. What's it time for now on the show? Yes, I believe. Oh, sorry. I need to lie down.
Are you relieved?
I am relieved. I need to get the right music so we don't have any more turd sounds.
By the way, that wasn't turd sounds. It wasn't sound effects. That actually did come out of Rich.
Yeah, it did. Sounded like it did. So I might need to get changed in a bit. It's okay. I've got my tenor lady on, so I'm of that age now that I have to wear the support pants. It's time now on the show to delve into the bulging sack that's currently in the tenor lady. No, that's known locally as the mailbag. Over to you.
Of course, Rich is in HD. That's why he's. You can see his actual true age now.
Yeah.
So, Karina in Nottingham emails the show. She says, "How's it going, Car-Boyz?
Hi.
Hope you're well. We are well. Her
We're good.
side lights have gone on the offside driver's front side
Okay.
of a 2003 Honda Civic.
Okay.
It is something that is it something that she can change herself, or should you go to her local garage? 2003 Honda Civic.
Looks like that. That's the picture of the lights.
Okay.
So it depends how handy you are really with a wrench and a spanner
Right.
and a screwdriver. So this is the light. You don't take the whole light out. You need to get behind it. So from the top where your battery is, you'll see behind the bulb. You need to get your hand. If you can get your hand in there, there is a little clip. You pull that clip out, and that removes the electric going to both of your bulbs. You're going to need little hands for this. Because the light, you can take the battery out, but if you can do this, you won't need to take the battery out. And also, if you take the battery out of a Honda, you unclip it. Make sure you know the radio code, because the radio won't work.
Okay.
Don't know the radio code, because then you have to go back to the garage and get the garage to remove the plates from underneath the car to reveal the radio code. So make sure you've written down the radio code before you ever disconnect a battery in a Honda. So you'll take it out. Then there's a little spring. You'll take the spring out. You push the spring together. That'll pop out. And you don't want to take out the main bulb. She said it's a side light, didn't she?
Yes.
That will be to the right-hand side, and take that out. To be honest, I had a quick look online. A bulb's going to cost you £8 if it's an older car, non-halogen bulb. Halfords will do it for 20 quid. I'd just take it to Halfords.
So there's two things about that.
Go on.
My last two cars were Fords.
Yes.
The Fiesta, I know, in order to change the bulb, you had to take the grill off. And then, because there's not enough space, because cars are made more compact now for safety regulations and things like that, so they make them more compact, so you can't always get your hand in to change the bulb.
Yes.
So you then had to unscrew the headlight out of it was 3 bolts that you just took off to replace the bulb. So that was that. The other car I had was the Ford car, not the off-roading Ford car.
No.
But to change the bulb in that, even just one of the side light, little diddy 5-watt side light, you had to take the bumper off. Now the thing is, Halfords, I once did, because I thought after 3 or 4 times, I thought, you know what, I'll get Halfords to do it.
Yeah.
Halfords said it's on the blacklist of cars that they will not touch.
Brilliant.
But they did change it for me anyway.
It's like, I don't know, Escort Mark II? No, Mark III. Escort Mark III. It was eventually the same. You had to take they had to take all of this out to change it. It was like, and also it was those weird, I've got loads sets of them now. Is it the hex screws?
Oh, yeah.
This one looks like a flower. Oh, this one looks like a star. I was fixing what my washer dryer went. My dryer went last year, and it was the thermostat. So I bought a thermostat for 10 quid, and I fixed it myself because it's cheaper than calling somebody out. I had to take the plate off the back, and it's all these little weird hex screws.
Are they called torque screws?
Torque screws. Like
that's
it.
I think, yeah.
They're
got loads of those in my toolbox.
Yeah. Absolutely. That's what I've heard. The rumours. I don't know. I think the other thing is side lights. I just put my car on full beam. Who cares? I just drive around because just put car full beam and nobody will ever know. You know, not full beam, but full lights on, and then just drive around and don't have it on in the day. Side lights, just saying. I'm not saying you should. Right, we'll move swiftly on from me telling somebody to break the law. Alfonso in Rome says, "Buongiorno, Car-Boyz." Buongiorno. Hope you're good. Love the show. He's from the land of beautiful Italian cars, but he has a classic he'd like to take home, which is more Bavarian than Romanesque. He's got his eye on a 1973 BMW 2002 2-litre auto in very good condition, 75,000 on the clock. Here's a picture. That's I reckon is a respray.
Yes. Don't think that's a BMW colour.
No, it's teal, isn't it? Newish paint job, refurbed wheels, factory sunroof. Seller wants €13,500. What do we reckon? There's an awful lot of chrome on there, and that looks in pretty good condition. I'd have to have a look at it. It's an old school BMW.
Yeah.
Now, this is when BMWs were very reliable. But like everything, if it isn't properly maintained, you're going to come a cropper. So you want the look at the logbook and the full service history. If the person that's selling this car comes out with a folder full of receipts and bills, you know they give a shit about this car. The more bills, receipts, things like, I love it, I've got them from my car. I keep if I've just had the tyres checked, I keep a little slip of paper with it. If you've had the wheels,
it shows you actually care about your vehicle.
About the car. Engines can suffer on these from cracked cylinder heads because I believe they were aluminium. But if properly maintained, this shouldn't be a problem. The same can be said for brakes, which can leak via brake lines, and the servo can also fail on these. But these cars had far better consumables on than they did. So it seems like BMWs were really well made and have got worse and worse. Because the research I did on this that said they've got better consumables on than the BMWs of the 1980s. I think, God, I look at the BMWs of the 1980s and think they were good. The hoses and the fuel lines tend to last, but bear in mind this is a 50-year-old car.
Yeah.
If you are not seeing any puddles underneath it, if you are not seeing any blue smoke, if the brakes work, if all the lights come on, if there's no tears in the interior, because I imagine parts are a bit of a bitch to get hold of, 13,500 euros. If you can afford it, Alfonso, why don't you go for it? It is a Montebello car. Is that what they say? Yeah, something like that.
And you'll be driving around in a little bit of style as well, Alfonso.
It will. There's a guy around.
It looked pretty good doing that.
There's a guy around a corner from me that has one of these in black with white cream leather interior, and it is actually quite rough condition, but he looks so cool driving it. You go, and the people that know that there's only certain people that will know this car. I always look at a 2002 guy.
Yeah.
Cool car. Yeah. So,
the forerunner to the BMW 3 Series. So
of course
there you go, Alfonso. Donald M5 gets in touch and he says, "Oh, hey, Car-Boyz, how you ganging?"
How you ganging?
That's probably my best Scottish accent. He says he loves the show. He doesn't have to, but thank you. Has to ask one question. Back in the 1980s, he took his car from Calais in France all the way down south via the Autocar SNCF French train service. There's a French train service now, all the way down to there, down to Perpignan. Can you still do this? And he's getting in several years. He doesn't fancy doing a long 800-mile drive from north to south. I think he's been prompted by you here, Rich.
I think he has.
A couple of weeks on the show, you said that you wanted to go here. So.
I know, and he's listened and he's thought, can I do that? Well, we had a look, and you used to be able to. The motor rail service stopped running, I'm afraid, from Calais to the south of France in 2010. You could put your car onto the train, and then you get onto the train, and you get your seat afterwards. The service continued to run from Paris until last year, 2019. They decided to cut down a lot of the routes to places like Perpignan. To be honest, the problem with it is, because it sounds like a great idea, you drive there, you put your car on the train, and then you sit in but it was 200 euros for the car one way, and then you had to buy your train tickets on top. At the end, it was running at less than 50% capacity. Cars have got better since the 1950s when this service started. So basically, it doesn't run at all now. If you have, why not? What's his name? Donald. So I'm guessing he's come from Faith. So to get him to Calais he's going to be knackered. So get to Calais, book an Airbnb. They're really cheap. Carry on down to, where does he want to go? Perpignan. Carry on down to maybe north or south of Le Mans, north of Limoges. So I think it's somewhere like Bourges. So because Limoges is too far. That's about halfway. Limoges is about halfway. So get another Airbnb and then get to your destination. So it's going to take you it's going to take 3 days, 2 nights. And have fun. And if he's getting on in years, I'm guessing he hasn't got young kids, fill the back of the car with whiskey. Well, wine and cheap French beer.
Baguettes.
And
onions.
Because after all, Donald, you're Scottish and you're like to save a penny or two. And I can say that because my great-grandfather was Scottish. That's how I get out of all my predicaments. But just take your time. Take your time. The auto routes are quite are not too crowded. You shouldn't have any problems. But just take your time. Or you could fly to Perpignan and hire a car. That's another option. If you live in Fife, why don't you just fly to Glasgow Airport and just, if they, I don't know whether they fly to Perpignan, and just hire a car when you get down there. That's possibly the cheapest way to do it, to be honest. You can't take back all the cheap booze, but
absolutely. Or just fly somewhere to France and then pick up a car somewhere there and hire it. Yeah.
There we go. Final one to the mail bag is Sophie in East London. She wants to buy a small car for a commute into work into Essex. So she travels from London to go into Essex. She wants a cheap small car. But at the weekends, she often goes to stay with her family in deepest, darkest Wales. She said they live in the middle of nowhere. So she wants a small, powerful car that also has 4x4 so she can manage those winding Welsh roads in winter. She's got £4,000 to spend, which is it's not a massive sum, but it's a pretty good sum. There is, so she needs something with guts, because getting this is, forget your 4x4 for a start. East London to Wales is a journey I made last year because I had a gig in somewhere called Foss Lass, which is in the middle of nowhere. So I'm in my mind, that's where I'm picturing. You cannot be buying a 1.1, and they used to do the Subaru Justy. 4x4, I think 1.4 or 1.2. The car I think you should buy is the Suzuki SX4. This thing is a small compact 4-door, slightly bigger than a Ford Fiesta, but smaller than a Mondeo. 1.6 litre engine, reliable Japanese car, a solid engine, 4-wheel drive that you can select and deselect. So when she's going in and out of London and in and out of Essex, she can have 2-wheel drive. And when it gets a little snowy, or let's face it, it's Wales, a little wet, you can put the 4-wheel drive on it. It's a cheap car. This isn't a Land Rover or a Land Cruiser money. This is a 2013 model. 1.6 full service history, in good condition, 56 on the clock, under £4,000. I think it was a fiver under £4,000.
Yeah, that's all good.
There you go, and that'll do. And yes, hopefully get you up and down those Welsh mountains. So good luck with that. I believe now it's time. Thank you for all your letters. If you want to get them on, usual, I'll just stick that up there, and you can just pause this part of the program. There you go. And it's time now for I don't know. It's our quiz. What? Sorry. Did you want to say something?
No, I was paused. I paused part of the show.
I must tell you, I was working with a presenter yesterday who has the habit of doing this. And I go, are you all right? Is the picture frozen? Oh, no. And then he would go, oh, no, I'm fine. But
it kind of reminds me of the end of Police Squad with Leslie Nielsen. And then things are going on in the background.
If you are under the age of 40, you won't get this, but every 1970s and 1980s show finished with the credits rolling and then a series of stills from that episode or other episodes. With the music playing. Dun, 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 dun.
We will not be doing that at the end of the show.
No, we won't. We won't. I'd love to aid the montage. Oh, sorry. I'll give you the music again. Here we go.
Yes, go for it. Thank you. That music does signify it's time for the Car-Boyz quiz. This week it is back. And you're joining us on the car lot this week.
Ooh.
As I become your favourite motor trader that gives Arthur Daly a run for his money.
Hang on a second.
What's he going to get?
Getting one of those, mate. It's a lovely car.
Yes.
It's a lovely car. 40,000 on the clock.
We're going to be playing a game. I
can pass you over this hat virtually.
That would be just so good. But we're playing a game of Price is Right because we have to basically have to guess what the car price is. And on the forecourt with me today is our contestant Richard from South West London.
Hello.
Now, Rich, How you doing? You all good?
I'm good, thank you.
Fantastic. Do you want
Lovely
to
to
know
be
what
here. Oh yeah, what's that?
you're playing for this week?
Yeah, what's my prize?
This week you're playing for a picture of a Ford Scorpio.
Oh, my dad
Is
used to have one of those.
I do like those. There's nothing quite wrong
P,
with these, but
Reg,
I like them. Yeah.
mate. What is the deal? You could get like a fifth. You could get like a £2 coin between the panel gap there. Look at that, right on the front where it meets the front wing.
It was
Something.
built in
Oh,
Germany, you know.
yeah, but I think that door's dropped, mate. Look at it. That does not look good.
It's not even a top spec. This is just the gear model. It's not even a
Oh
top spec.
no, my dad.
So,
That's what the one my dad had. The gear. Oh, it brings back happy memories. He had it in a purple as well. It was
oh, aubergine,
no, it was
aubergine.
lilac. Is that what it was
Ah,
called? It was like a lilac.
oh, I think I know the one. Yeah.
Ah,
Anyway, so you're playing for that. You're playing for the
oh
picture of
good.
the Ford Scorpio.
Yeah, I can hardly
The
wait. Yeah.
answers are either A or B. And I would
Okay,
say the only advice I'll give to you is go with your gut feeling rather than the price on the internet windscreen.
I will do
So,
that.
starting with
Before we start, can I just say, it looks like you've been on holiday to Turkey with that T-shirt. It looks like the hammer and sickle. It doesn't look like the top. The top. There he is,
the
Harold
new
Shipman.
turkey flag.
The new Turkey flag is Harold Shipman. Sorry, I digress.
And if you're not from this country and you don't know who Harold Shipman was, he was the drummer of Queen.
He is.
So, question number one.
Take your
As
medicine, Mr. May.
Starting off this week with the 1962 Citroën 2CV.
Yes.
And this one is based all the way in Toulouse, France. It has
Okay.
33,700 kilometers on the clock. Recently had some work done on it. How much can you pick this very car up from? Is it A, £7,500 or
Yeah.
B, £13,000?
Hmm.
A, £7,500 or B, £13,000 for this
I,
1962.
because they have been getting increased. So it's the earlier model. It hasn't got the split front window, but so it's not a really early 1950s model.
Mm.
I can't quite. It looks in good nick. It's in the south of France, so it hasn't got. It's not going to be like full of rust. I'm going to say €7 or pounds. Euros,
Pounds.
pounds.
Yes.
I'm going to say £7,000. That's the
Bing! Absolutely
thank
right.
you.
It is
Cool.
£7,500 for this 2CV. So well done. One out
Thank
of one.
you. Thank you.
Here's the actual advert itself. So
I
those
d-
will be
I
available.
think if it had been an earlier, 10 years earlier, with the wave, they've almost like a corrugated bonnet.
Mm,
There's a wave in the bonnet. I think that they would have gone for that money.
yeah. Yeah, I think you're right. Okay, so 1 out of 1
Ooh,
so
cool.
far. Question number 2, a Great British car next. And sadly, I've noticed, I can't remember, it's on the King's Road. Bristol used to have a dealership there. It's
It's
closed
gone.
down.
It's gone.
Yeah,
It's gone. Yeah,
absolutely.
because Bristol have
Uh,
gone bankrupt. Yeah.
Bristol Blenheim from 1994.
Ooh,
This is a Bristol Blenheim from
beautiful.
1994. A development car which was based in Wiltshire, 65,000 miles on the clock.
Yeah.
Is it going for A, £14,500 or B, 1700,
£1,000. It's
£17,500?
going for £1,700. I'm going to go and get one tomorrow. I'm going to go for higher rather than lower. It's a low mileage. It's a Bristol. Very unique cars, usually with I think BMW or Ford engines. I'll go for 17,000.
Is incorrect. You can actually pick
Really?
this up. Yeah, £14,500. Just to prove it, here's the advert itself.
Wow.
It is somewhere
That's
on there. 14,000.
that's and unlike we said about like I said about the Citroen, the older ones are where the real money is. But look at that, there's leather interior, a marvelous
Oh,
looking
red
car,
leather.
red leather.
There you go. So not
Okay,
incorrect there,
that's fine.
but so far you're still on course for the Ford Scorpio picture. Question number 3, we go
Uh-huh.
to Swindon now, and a homegrown
Uh-huh.
product of Swindon. It's the Honda Civic Type
Oh,
R.
Type R, yeah,
There you
yeah,
go.
yeah,
2003,
great,
105,000 miles on the clock, 2-litre
yeah.
VTEC engine in grey. How much are they asking for this? Is it A, £4,995 or B,
It's
£7,995?
if they're asking 7 grand, this thing must be made of gold. No, it's the lower price.
Bing! Right
Thank you.
thinking, yes,
Yeah, that's
£4,995.
I think that's too much for that. That's far too much.
Yeah.
The mileage is too high. Yeah. They're never going to sell that. They're going to hang on that for that forever and a day.
So
I mean,
Expect to see that next week for £1,000 less.
I was going to say, my wife has the 1.6 SE,
Mm.
and of a newer model than that with the same mileage, and it's worth £1,000.
Yeah.
So why am I going to spend another £3,000 for another 400cc? Because that's all the Type R. All it has is maybe I wouldn't pay that. You're bloody insane. Anyway, sorry, I digress.
Absolutely right. Right answer. Okay, over now to Warrington in the northwest of England. They have, you'll love this, they have a Volvo S40 in, you probably can't see that, but that is actually gold.
It looks like baby shit yellow. No, I can see it. There it is.
Color of bile.
Yeah.
It is based on the Ford Focus. It's a 57 plate in metallic gold, 95,000 miles, all the usual Volvo stuff on it. 1.8 litre petrol. This is for sale for how much? Is it A, £1,295 or B, £2,490? Sorry, A, 12,095. Sorry,
1,200.
£1,295 or B, £2,490.
Okay, it's 12 years old. I'm gonna go for 1,295.
Oh, it's not. It's
higher.
2 and just 10 grand short, £10 short of £2,500.
Yeah.
But there you go.
Yeah, it's nice and not a bad car.
There's the advert for it. £2,490.
Yeah, I still think that's a bit rich, but there you go.
Yes, but then car prices have changed over the last few months or so. Okay, so
COVID.
Yes.
Right, go on.
I think they called it the COVID tax. Number 5, we now have a high performance section on the car lot. We have a 1996 Ford Escort Cosworth.
1996, okay.
Ford Escort Cosworth
Whale
in
tail.
Auralis Blue, which is a rare colour because they never did many of these in this colour.
Okay.
Almost purpley, almost the colour that you get the Granada Scorpio in.
Yes.
This is got 67,000 miles on the clock.
Yeah.
Is this car going for A, £59,995 or B, £69,995?
Do you know, this is a ridiculous thing that you could have picked one of those up for probably £5,000 15 years ago, if that. I'm going to say the £69,000.
And you would be right, £69,995 for a Ford Escort Cosworth. Well done. Just to prove it, here is the advert. 69,995.
How much were they originally? Weren't they about
20 grand? Yes, just over 20 grand.
The bloke, I worked in the mid-90s, I was working in a newspaper in Nottingham, and the accountant upstairs had one. And we were all like, wow, that's so cool. And it was like in a purple or something. But 70 grand, insane.
70 grand.
Ford people out there are insane, but there you go.
Yes, so absolutely right. Just under 70 grand for that. Number 6, another hot hatch. It's a hot hatch classic. It's the Golf GTI.
Another Mark 1?
Yes, from 1983, complete.
Okay.
Oh, you'd love this. Complete with original Pioneer cassette head unit.
Yes.
Yes.
And the wheels are original as well. They're factory fitted wheels.
Yes. Pumps and belts recently changed. A big 240,000 kilometers on the clock, but it is right-hand drive, so I'm not sure where they got that one from.
Okay.
How much is being asked for this? Is it A, £6,500 or B, £9,995? 6.5 or just under 10?
I think 10 is asking too much. Is it the GTI?
It is a GTI, yes.
I think 10 is too much. The lower figure. I'll go for the lower figure.
Absolutely right. £6,500 for this.
Yeah.
And there you go. There's the advert for it.
I think it's the reverse. I think if you'd asked me 15 years ago how much that would have been worth, it would have been every single penny of 10 grand. But I don't think the people that used to buy those and lusted after those are my age, and they all have kids and families, and they're not buying a 40-year-old VW Golf because the wife will kick them out.
Absolutely. So question number 7, doing well so far. That picture of the Scorpio is still safe. We're going to now cross the water to Londonderry now. We've got your favourite and mine. It's a 1987 Nissan Bluebird.
Oh,
2 owners, genuine 27,800 miles on the clock.
Oh,
How
wow.
much do you think this is up for sale for? Is it A,
Yes.
£4,500 or B,
Yes.
£7,000?
Okay. Years ago, I would have said you would have got in excess of 500 quid for that car. But it has plenty of life left in it as a taxi,
Yes.
which was the home of the Nissan Bluebird. I think 7 grand's taking the piss. I know there's weirdos that like Japanese, older classic Japanese cars. I think 4.5 grand, the first
It's
figure.
absolutely right. Yes, as I
Hey,
said, go for your gut feeling
yeah,
rather than and
yeah,
there's the advert there. It's yeah, Nissan Bluebird for sale,
brilliant, brilliant. I did see
four and a half grand.
I saw a Triumph Acclaim the other day because my grandfather had a Triumph Acclaim, and it was again like that. They wanted about 3 for it in gold. Well, effectively,
Fantastic.
you're buying a Honda Accord, 4-door, and I think it was about £3,000
Yeah.
again with like 14,000 miles on the clock.
So well done, doing well so far.
Cool.
Question number 8. We've got a future classic. It is the no, it's not this one. It is this one. It's the 1994
Yes.
Renault Clio Williams, built to celebrate William Renault
Ah,
1993 world title. It's got 92,000 miles on the
there's the
clock.
clock.
It's in Portugal, and it's on
Oh,
sale for A, £15,995 or B, £21,500.
really?
15,995 or B,
I'm gonna get.
21,000.
Does it have Vavavoom though? That's the most important question. I once.
This is the basis of like the Dacia Sandero.
I once saw a member at E17 getting out of a dark blue Renault Clio Williams with the gold decals on,
Yes,
and wait for it, in Walthamstow, in Leighton, in East
yes.
London, and getting out and taking a laptop into cash converters. This was probably about 10 years after E17 had last had a hit.
And the money had dried up.
Yeah, I think he was the one that ended up being a roofer.
Oh, okay. Was
Yeah,
it
so you
Brian
know,
Harvey?
it wasn't. No, he ended up being a nutcase. It wasn't Brian Harvey. It was one of the dancers at the back. There's
Oh,
one with a
yeah.
little tash, and
The one
one
that had
with
a bald head but
the bald head.
sideburns.
I think he lives in not Chigwell, north of Walthamstow. Where were the dogs? You know where the dogs were in Walthamstow?
Chingford.
Chingford. I think he lived in Chingford.
Okay.
Anyway, the lower price. There's the lower price, 15.
Oh, it's not.
What?
It's going for £21,500. Also, if you want to buy this one, the owner says they will pick you up from the airport. So you can buy a cheap flight and they will pick you up from the
Then
airport.
I got to drive it back, and it'll break down on the Spanish border, and then the French
Probably.
border, then
'Cause
halfway
it's
through
French.
France because it's a French car and it's made of
Yes.
paper.
And baguettes. Question number 9, penultimate one,
Yes.
also from 1994, just come in, it's been validated. It's
Yes.
the BMW 840i. Remember that?
Yeah.
Apparently, it's been part of a collection for the last 11 years.
Yes.
It's black with 102,000 miles, based in
Yes.
Wales. Is it on
Yes.
sale for A, £14,995 or
Yeah.
B, £17,995?
And what year?
1994.
I remember a guy. I worked at a car park, and there was a guy that used to come in with one of these cars, and we used to all drool over it. We were like, "That's the coolest car." I'm going to go for the higher figure just because I think it's worth that.
Oh, it's not. It's
Really?
actually 14,995. Yes. So maybe we'll do this as a classic car thing.
I think that's
14,995.
14 grand for that pillarless coupe.
Coupe. Yeah.
That makes no sense.
4-litre engine.
That was back in the day when they were making proper cars. Those BMWs in the mid-90s are solid.
And I think they were originally something like 70,000 to buy brand new.
Yeah, there was something like that. This is the point where when we saw it at the same time, you could have bought it's like Ferrari 911 territory. And I remember it coming in, and we used to go, "That's just the coolest." I said, "What the hell is that?" Because the front is so beautiful car.
Yeah, beautiful.
And has he got new wheels? He's got larger wheels on that as well, because it would have that's had larger wheels.
Yes, but
yeah.
Beautiful car.
Yeah. Okay, well, I think that should be a future
14.5 for you.
Yeah, amazing.
Okay, and finally, we talked about this earlier on. It's for the picture of the Scorpio Ultima.
Come on.
This is the model that we're talking about is the Ultimate. It's not this one. I didn't print out that picture.
Oh, okay.
But we found one for sale.
Yes.
It's a 2.9 24 valve V6 Ultima Cosworth, one owner, 74,000 miles on the clock, in white, based in Reading.
We'll
How
see
much do
the
you think?
rust.
No. When I show you the actual picture on the advert, it hasn't got a single bit of rust.
All right.
It's going for how much? Is it A, £2,495 or B, £6,995?
Now, I would have said the former, but I was looking at these recently and they've started to get expensive because all fours are expensive, and I'm thinking the higher figure.
Let's see if you're right. This is the actual advert for it. It is
£6,995 for a car that will eat itself alive. Those things are really badly built, and a second-hand cars, go on.
This one's got I've looked at all the pictures. It's not got a little bit rear wheel arches, not a single bit of rust on there. Whoever's looked after it has looked after it really well.
But if I had, I'd put the £6,000 towards the BMW. And that's just a thought. Or I would actually, no, I would take the, what was it, the £59,000 from the...
69,000 from the Cosworth.
£69,000 from the Cosworth, buy the BMW and put some money in, deposit on a small flat. That is insane. Insane.
So there you go.
So I win that picture, fantastic, and I can have lots of memories of my father driving around in his I don't think his door had fallen like the door in that, and I don't think it had those panel gaps. You could get your whole arm inside. Brilliant. What a fantastic car. Brilliant. Yay.
There you go. Well done.
That's it about it from the show. We've run out of things to say. Thank you very much for tuning in. When are we going to be back? Next week? Should we try and come back
next week as far, isn't it?
Yeah, if we don't get the Wu flu, if we're still here.
Hopefully we'll be well.
Yeah, because we're not going anywhere, because obviously we're being in lockdown at the moment. So hopefully we will see you next week. Thank you for tuning into Car-Boyz. Keep sending all your stuff through to the usual addresses. There it is. And we'll try and provide you with more car-fotainment next time. See what I did there?
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Bye-bye.
Bye.